All right, nieces and nephews, welcome back to the Uncle Bogator channel. We finally got the front wheel in for Bo Mama's bike. Today is April 24th. Today is April 24th. It just came in on Monday, I think. So, and today's Thursday, so 3 days ago, 21st. We ordered these wheels January 29th. I just went back through my email, ordered, and found it. They did send it within 7 weeks, but then, the front wheel was wrong. Had to send it back, wait for another one. So it's been a long time. It's been almost 3 months to get these wheels in with a 10 to 14 day expected turnaround time. I want to hammer that home. I know they probably get real busy, but don't put 10 to 14 days on there if it's going to take almost 3 months to get your products in. That's what I'm saying. So now you guys might have followed along with the debacle of, I broke some of those hex bolts. They sent me new ones. They didn't charge me for them, so I'm real thankful to DNA Specialty for that. I've got the new front wheel. I've got the new bolts over here somewhere. And then we got more parts. Bo Mama wants ape hangers on her Road King. So we got 14s. We're not doing that today. The goal is to get the Dyna fully put back together, up and running before I start tearing into these bars on the Road King, because knowing my luck, I'll get balls deep into that Road King and come up with a problem, and now she's got 2 bikes and neither one of them are up. So I don't want to be the person that does that, you know what I mean? Now, I can't, unfortunately, go start to finish today with getting the wheels all assembled and put on the bike, because you guys know we just had a new grandson 4 weeks ago yesterday. And let me tell you something, man. My daughter lives with us again now. She moved back home with us several months ago. And, we haven't expected her to work because she's been pregnant. And, she's looking for jobs now. So my wife and I are her ride everywhere. And because I have Wednesdays off, she's been making her appointments and the baby's follow-up appointments on Wednesdays. So I've been super busy with that every single Wednesday. Now, today's Thursday. I do have today off. I took today off. We have another appointment for the baby this afternoon. So I've got a couple hours that I can dick around out here. And so the goal for today, assuming I don't screw anything up, is to get the wheels with the rotors on and the pulley on and torqued with red Loctite. Lesson learned from last time, right? And then set those aside and we'll work on those, getting them on the bike next week. So without further ado, let's get started on that. All right, first things first. I'm gonna go with a couple camera angles here, I think. So we gotta get these off. These are torqued. I took one out a couple weeks ago when we went over to the Harley shop to measure the threads. If you guys missed that episode, it wasn't a very popular episode. I don't know why. If I knew the secrets to that, I'd have a much bigger YouTube channel. But what I did was I took one of these and one of the rotor bolts to make sure they were the same size as stock. And they are not. The threads and the pitch are the same, but the length of the stock bolts are significantly longer. Somebody said, can't you just, go get good bolts? I can, and I haven't. We're gonna stick with the ones from DNA Cycles for now. And if I have to get replacements later, I'll go get, I don't remember if it was grade 5 or grade 8 or what that was, but I had blue Loctite on these. And yeah, I know it's wrong. We are throwing these away. I don't know if they're one-time use or not, but we're going to treat them as though they are because I have new ones. So I'm going to work on getting all these out, and I'll catch back up with you guys in just a minute. All right, so I got the hub sitting here on the bare ground, which I don't really want to do. So I'm going to pull these 3 out, but after I get these first 2 going, because I'm a little nervous that I'm not going to have a good angle. I'm gonna have to lift this back up on my leg like I did with the pulley bolts out. Put a couple drops on. Don't need to overdo it. All right, we're gonna tighten this down. If you watched the video where I started this before, the torque range, 30 to 45 foot-pounds, and I'll always mention it just in case people missed that episode. That big of a gap, I understand torque ranges, but that big of a gap is just ridiculous. To me, a torque range is for things that have, like, if you're trying to line up a castle nut, or you're trying to line up, two bolts that have safety wire holes in them or something. Not this. These ain't going nowhere. So is it 30? Is it 35? Is it 40? Is it 42? So what I've done is I've set my torque wrench to 40 pounds. All right, we're gonna lift this up. Last time I also put an extension on this thing. We're not gonna do that this time. All right. I think I can get it this way. Yep. Yeah, this is the way to do it. Okay. So this is supposed to be a 730 seconds. All right, there's 40 foot-pounds. This is like some bullshit fucking AutoZone hex bit. I don't like how that's going in or how that's kind of bending inside of there a little bit. I know these are a little bit soft, but that's uncomfortable. We'll call it that. We'll call it uncomfortable. These are my new torque wrenches that I bought on the last video, the Quinn brand, which is, if you're familiar with Harbor Freight, it's not as shitty as the Pittsburgh ones, but not as good as the Icon ones. You know what I mean? These have not been torqued, so I'm just going to reuse these. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I got brand new ones. Why not just use the brand new ones if I have them, right? All right, let's torque these. So we know I did this one and this one. Well, really, I should have done this one and this one, but we're going to go back around them all after I get them done. Okay. Since I did this one last, we're going to start with this one down here. Oh. Your old uncle's out of shape. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. Oh. Nope, we're going the wrong way. There we go. All right, bring it. Keep it nice and level. Now, I opted to do the rotor side first because there's now a gap between the rotor and the floor. So if I want to leave this down on the ground all the way while I put these bolts in, I can. Okay, we threw away the other bolts. So these are all brand new. That red Loctite on there. Don't need a whole lot, like I said. Now this particular socket is a lot bigger, so there's no play in it. And I think it might be a Craftsman. You guys know, maybe you don't know, but if you've been around the channel, you know I'm a big fan of Craftsman tools. I've used them forever. And I know it's different now than it was, you know, back when, you know, Sears was open. I know it's basically a different company. And I want to clarify that I like the Craftsman hand tools. I think they're power tools, or they're really hit or miss. I had 3 Craftsman blowers, 25cc blowers, before I finally just returned it and bought a steel one. I mean, it was only like $20 more for the steel one anyway, but because I already have Craftsman and everything else, I thought, yeah, we'll go with Craftsman, just, you know, for continuity around the garage, you know what I mean? Now this is a 1/2 inch drive. We're gonna have to get the other torque wrench out. Once again, Harley gave us this gigantic torque range. What is this? 55 to 65. We're gonna put it on 60. All right, let's pick her up. Ooh. We'll start with this one. Okay. Move to this one. 60 foot-pounds. We're going to go through these a couple times. All right. So we'll go, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. This one is technically put together. All right, boys. I just got back from Lowe's, where I bought an entire set of Craftsman sockets, hex bits. Jesus. Now these have another range. Again, not a big fan of ranges, but 16 to 24 foot-pounds. And my little 3/8 drive torque wrench, the lowest it goes is 20, which is perfect because I would pick the middle of that range anyway. So 20. You guys like this style of video? Let me know if you like this style of video. This, I mean, I don't know what people like. Again, if I knew that, I'd be a bigger channel. Just working in the garage, you know. I've got about an hour left till we got to leave to take my new grandson to his doctor appointment. He's getting his little snip today. So that's going to be a Traumatic experience for the young lad. He's not going to remember it, of course. 20 foot-pounds is very light, by the way. But that's what it says, 16 to 24. Get that down just where it grabs. Hey, I've got a new shirt that I'm planning on launching. Also, while I got you guys here, if you've made it this far in the video, I'd be asleep by now if I was watching this thing. But so I've started printing my own shirts. And as a result of that, we're not going to do $35 per shirt anymore when I come out with new designs. I haven't quite figured out the cost yet. But it's not going to be $35. I'm not. It's expensive to print those shirts like that, and I have to have minimum orders. So I just started doing them myself. All right, there's 20 foot-pounds. Oh, please don't strip these out, Mr. Craftsman sockets. We're going to start down here. They do fit a lot tighter, all right? 1. Yeah, this is better. 2. 3, 4, and 5. We'll go back around these one more time. Now put this down, get the other one out. Like I said, we are probably not getting these wheels on today. I've got an hour before I have to drive to the Orlando area. So maybe we'll have time later. I really doubt it. We've got a ride coming up on Saturday. We're going to Leesburg. I like the small town bike fest. You know, I really enjoyed the DeLand one a couple months ago. These grab so much better than the cheap. And I'm going to tell you, those cheap AutoZone ones that I have, that I'm using, or was using until right now, I've had those since like 1997, 98. I had an old 89 Honda Accord that liked to break down a lot. It had almost 200,000 miles on it. But it was always little shit. Like one time I was in South Carolina, it broke down. But all I had to do was a freaking tune-up on the side of the road. Weird, right? All it needed was a tune-up. Little things like that. So I carried those tools with me everywhere. And I'd pick up new tools at different AutoZones as I traveled. All right, let's get this one torqued. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. That ain't going nowhere. All right, we're gonna call the wheels assembled. Anyway, so we'll see you at some point. I'll either bring you guys along for the ride on Saturday as part of this video or make a whole new video, or when we get these wheels going on. We'll see you then. All right, boys, welcome back. It's been 6 days since we last worked on the wheels. We put all the wheels together. I'm very hesitant to say today we're going to wrap it up. But minus any unforeseen issues, which I'm known for having, we should be able to get this Dyna back on the road today. If not, you guys are going to see it with me. We're going to be pissed off together. You can laugh at me, whatever you want. But what we got to do here, all right, let me give a quick rundown here. So I got a new belt guard. We got to take this one off. The rear bolt has, busted off during the accident. Not accident, but during when it broke. I'm going to break torque on this axle before I take off the shocks. I don't know if I'm going to take them all the way off. I might just do the bottom. Yeah, first we got to get this jack under here. I did get a miter saw a couple weeks ago. One of my, come on, zoom in, baby. Anyway, I did get a miter saw a couple weeks ago with one of my, I'm drinking outside while I'm smoking meat. And so I had to cut this little 2x4. And anyway, enough yapping. Let's get to this, see if I can't actually get something going. We also got this thing plugged in, charging the battery. I meant to do this a couple days ago because I haven't had this thing charging in a couple weeks. So hoping that if I do have it all fixed today, that the battery is going to be charged enough to actually start. Well, this is going to be a problem, ain't it? We're going to see if I can actually get that in there to break torque. Yeah. Yeah. Get that belt guard off. Trying 2 angles here on this today. A couple angles. We'll see how overwhelming that is to edit. All right, there's that. All right, this has a big snap ring on it. C-clip, rather. I don't know that, yeah, this will work. This will work. Don't lose it. The day that I started acquiring tools for this thing, I did go get this 36 millimeter socket. And I have this breaker bar, which I don't even know where this thing came from. Let's see if that's the wrong way. First of all, I want to see if I can get this, if we can break it without putting, I also bought this 15-inch crescent. See if I can break it without, yep. All right. I bought that 15-inch crescent just because I thought it looked cool. No, because I wanted to make sure that in case I needed to break that other side or hold that other side while I broke this axle nut, that, you know, I'd be able to, right? Let's see if we can just break the bottom here. This is where I wish I had a friend. I can't get that under there. Oh boy. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I know you guys can't see me. All right, let's start lifting it up just a little bit. See if that's going to be stable in the least. All right, she's lifting up a little bit. That's exactly what we want. All right. Well, I'll be damned if I don't have a 3/4 inch wrench. Who doesn't have a 3/4 inch wrench? Me, apparently. Well, we're gonna have to use the old redneck socket set here. Not my favorite idea. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's actually gonna work out just fine. I could be mistaken, and I wouldn't be surprised if I am. This side doesn't have a nut. Let's take this extension off. I don't need that much outward leverage. Hey, oh, there it goes. All right, there we go. All right, that was actually upward pressure, not downward pressure. So that makes me feel a little better. We're gonna keep this right here and see if the axle is actually loose enough to come out. It is. All right. All right, we've got a thick spacer on this side. We've got a thin spacer and then 2 washers on this side. Okay, there's the axle. Axle's actually in pretty good shape. I'm gonna clean that up, and I've got some more anti-seize to put on there. All right, let's lift her up a little more. Make sure these things are still tight. They are. I want to be able to roll this out. All right, how do we get that spacer out? All right, we know this belt's loose, right? So we can take that off. But that is a very, very stubborn spacer. All right, it's beveled on one side. That's got to go in towards the. Look at this. Boy. Yeah. All right, she's stuck on the brakes. So we're gonna have to take the caliper off, looks like. That's fine. I was just trying something there, you know what I mean? Okay. All right, all I did, I couldn't film that because I don't have enough space over here for the camera tripod. I do have a, we just rented a storage unit a couple days ago, and I'm renting a truck, because I don't have a truck, to take a lot of this shit out of here. I might have to break the cap for that master cylinder and squeeze these brakes in a little bit. Yeah. Definitely gonna have to loosen these things up, because otherwise I'll scratch the... All right, old wheel coming off, coming off. Yeah, there it is. Old wheel. How about this? You guys like this view? Oh boy. All right. So theoretically, I don't have to adjust. Oh, it's going to adjust. No. Theoretically, I don't have to adjust these because they were already, the belt was already good. But I did, like I said, I did get tools to align the wheel should I need to. So I'm banking on it. But what I'm going to do here, I don't want to take off that, or I don't want to loosen that bleed nipple. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, honestly. Just to make sure both pistons are all the way retracted. Oh, there goes the brake fluid. Let me tighten these screws back up. Trick on these reservoir screws for the brakes is don't tighten them down too far. That's what happens when a lot of people, you squeeze those little gaskets too tight, and that's what causes them to start leaking. Well, one of the reasons. That it could just be a shitty design, right? But I don't want this everywhere, so we'll wipe her up. I know these cameras aren't set up the best, guys. I know that, okay? What do I keep saying about wishing I had friends? Yeah. Yep, wish I did. Gotta get to watch me struggle here. Okay. How many of you guys have seen me struggle for, gosh, 4 years now, I guess? Get the old hammer. I'm gonna wash my hands before I touch too much. You are watching me struggle. I am on the struggle bus. Is there any chance of getting this thing in here? What do I do with it? There it is. Is there any chance of getting this in here? This brake mount, it's a pretty neat design, I guess, if you want to call it that. But putting it back together is not something that I enjoy. What you guys can't see really, because I'm blocking with my fat ass, is I need this whole thing to move backwards while this stays in here. And that spacer up there stays there. I can see the wheel is cockeyed, so that doesn't help. Tell you what, I don't ever want to do this again. All right, let's take it that way. All right, we're gonna mess with this off camera because I'm really struggling here. I had this lined up and now I can't. Oh boy, oh boy. All right, off camera, here we go. All right, boys, we're wrapping up for the day. It's been about 5 hours since we turned the cameras off, and had a couple phone calls to Shelby. I did several measurements. I did some cross-referencing, all that shit. I went to a machine shop. I'll take you around a little bit for what I did. And yeah, I'm not really pleased with my experience ordering from DNA Specialty for their wheels. I may make a whole video about it because it's been an experience, okay? And some of it might be my inexperience, like working with custom wheels, but holy cow, holy cow. Let me show you what was going on earlier. So I've got the wheel just lazily in there. I do have the spacer on, but so the stock wheels on a Fat Bob are 5 inches wide in the back, and I ordered 5.5 inches wide. Okay, but they also increased the width of the hub by 1/2 inch. It took me a while to figure that out. I would rather they have kept the hub the same width. You know, you have to type when you order what model bike you have, right? So that means the spacer was wrong, right? Well, talking to Shelby, this spacer on the brake side you don't really mess with, okay? Because everything has to true up with the rotors and caliper. So I went to a machine shop and had them cut 1/2 inch off of that spacer, which now it works. And you might notice, Mike, you got an extension hanging out of your axle. Yeah, I'm gonna have to order a new axle too, because I used that to hammer the axle out earlier, and big mistake. So yeah, this hub here is 6 1/4 wide. Okay, that hub is 6 3/4 wide. So then I'm like, well, if I'm going to the machine shop and I have spacer problems, let me go ahead and measure here. Sure shit. This hub from, oh God, I can't point. You know, from here at the face to the other end side of the face there is 6 1/4 inches, okay? That hub is 5 1/8 inch on a wider wheel. This is supposedly a 3 inch wide wheel, and that's a 3.5 inch. wide wheel, right? And somehow they made the hub narrower. So, you know, I had to take, now this one's dual brakes. So I needed to take the, gosh, what am I thinking about here? I need to take the equal distance off of both sides so that way it didn't mess with the brakes too much. So I don't remember what that was. I had to add basically 0.556. So the machine, and I did verify through cross-referencing, you know, what the size was. It's a 0.883 length spacer. So I had to add that 0.556. So we're ending up with a 1.447 something. Anyway, and I did verify that both of those spacers are the same on both sides. So he's making me 2 spacers for the front. We ran out of time today. I was at his shop. It was my first time in a machine shop. I spent 3 hours there with him. 2.5 hours, and he was closing up for the day, but I'm not gonna work on this until probably Saturday anyway, and I need a new axle. So it's not like I can't do anything. I'm pretty frustrated. Once again, I told you this morning I would run into problems, and here we are. So we're gonna wrap this video up here. Hope you guys like the in the garage shit like this, you know. We'll obviously have some more of it. Plus, we got some things to do on Bo Mama's Road King. So, anyway, thanks for coming along for this video and all videos. Until next time, we'll see you later.